Greetings, fellow moviegoers, and welcome back to Movie Central, the place to talk about movies, TV shows based on movies, toys based on movies, games based on movies, and rides based on movies. I'm your host, Mr. CCS, and this is my pet gorilla, George. Yeah, that's right. We're back. And this time, I had much more preparation for not reviewing movies. So, unlike the last season's premiere, I'm not scruffy looking. But I'm beyond the point, as this season, we're going to be covering different DC properties. So, let's get into that with a bit of history. Founded in 1934, DC Comics Incorporated is a comic book company that has only gotten better over time. While they were founded in 1934, the first real comic book under their banner wouldn't be released until 1937, which would be the first issue of one of their most popular characters, Superman. But we'll get to him next episode. Today, we actually focus on their most popular and well-beloved characters, Batman. First debuting in 1939's Detective Comics issue 27, Batman's origin story focuses on billionaire orphan Bruce Wayne taking up the mantle of a brutal vigilante who goes out to fight criminals, supervillains, and even some of the most powerful alien entities in the universe. While today, Batman is one of the most popular and well-respected superheroes, back 50 years ago, that wasn't exactly the case. In 1966, we got our first real representation of the Dark Knight with the TV series simply titled Batman, starring Adam West and Burt Ward. Like most superhero properties in the 1960s, this show was very goofy and constantly treated his characters like jokes, with over-the-top acting, silly set pieces, and of course, the awful dialogue. Holy bad writing! That said, I do respect the show for bringing the character to life and bringing him to the limelight, and it is a very well-known piece of media to this day. Yes, it's still bad, but that doesn't make it enjoyably bad. But you know what isn't enjoyably bad? We'll get to that very soon, don't worry. But I was going to mention the movie that came out from this show. Yes, there was a movie released right when the second season of the show was released. So, with it coming from the show, having a bigger budget, and being the first screen adaptation of the hero, is it passable today? If you can tell by the tone of my voice right now, no. But I need some sort of segue to this review. This is Batman the movie. So the plot is somewhat strange. Batman and Robin, played by the now iconic duo of Adam West and Burt Ward, just team up to take out four villains known as the United Underworld, consisting of the Penguin, played by Burgess Meredith, the Joker, played by Cesar Romero, the Riddler, played by Frank Gorshin, and Catwoman, played by Lee Merriweather. Now, comics back during the Silver Age were really freaking strange, and if you want to see a very good adaptation of that era of comics, watch Batman the Brave and the Bold. This sort of gets it down with the opening set piece with the shark, but pretty much just turns into a random 100-minute romp with our characters just doing random things and improvising lines. Like, what the heck? How on earth did I start off season 3 with me already going on a rant? What's wrong with me? Okay, I digress. While the story is very weak, does anything hold up in this movie? Again, no, but I need a segue. So Batman and Robin are not the characters I remember. I know Batman is the disturbed monster, with Robin being the wisecracker that stands by Batman's side to keep him stable. Here, not only does Batman's version of that Adam West offers of the character have no moodiness in his character, but he's also just so annoying. My god, he's annoying. I never thought I'd say that, but I feel like that's been my biggest problem with this version of the lore. Batman wasn't Batman. Robin spends half the movie saying his holy puns. I did make that joke earlier, but that was to poke fun at it all. Robin is not an annoying character. His writing is actually very tragic. The animated series got that, Brave and the Bold got that, the Batman from 2004 got that, and even Joel Schumacher got that. This did not. And I punish the show for that so much. As for the side characters, well, when Alfred and Commissioner Gordon have little to nothing to do in this, especially considering more recent adaptations such as Burton films, Nolan films, and Reeves' movie, that is a freaking disgrace. It gets worse with the villains because they're all the same character. Don't believe me? Well, here's some evidence to prove that point. All of the characters are so over the top goofy, and they all have the same personality. The Penguin is a very cynical monster in the comics, who has a tragic side to him. The Joker is psychopathic for the most part, but he also has a bit of a tragic side to him. The Riddler is supposed to be an intelligent monster, not as goofy as this version is. And Catwoman, to be honest, does have the most character of the four. But that doesn't say much, because she's also super over the top in certain scenes, especially in that fight scene with villains and Bruce Wayne outside of his costume, and that finale on that stupid submarine. Ugh! I feel like that's the longest I've ranted on anything in my entire life, but that is not great. But if it's necessary to rant, then I must. And believe me when I say there is more. Bear with me. What's more? Well, for one, the editing is freaking horrible. I get the effects are not going to be the best, and I know the movie is a very low budget, but for Christ's sake, don't make it obvious you're reusing shots or that you're shooting in a bathtub. Please just make it look good for a cheap movie. God, I know I'm yelling, but please just bear with me for a little while longer. We're almost there. With all the complaints I've said, I do have one praise. The music is decent. Yeah, I know. A praise. Nelson Riddle did quite a decent job composing music that does indeed fit the tone of the movie. Would I listen to it on its own? No. Is it a good score? I'd say yes. But with the nice things I've just said, I must say how bad the action is. The TV show introduced this weird idea for action with the splash screens reading boom, pang, pow, oof, etc. The movie utilized it, and it does not work whatso friggin' ever. The finale, I feel, is the worst offender of this. I describe it as a drunk beach party on Halloween, and that somewhat feels accurate. But I can tell that the actors had such a good time making it, so I guess I'll shut up about it. What I can't shut up about, however, is how bad the movie is. Honestly, if it weren't for She-Hulk coming out, this is the worst comic book content I've ever seen in my life. And that makes me super sad, because I love the character of Batman. But unfortunately, this movie did not do the Dark Knight justice. So for that, this movie gets a 1 out of 10. Lock this one up in Arkham Asylum for sure. I know we didn't exactly start the season up on a high note, but trust me, everything else I review in this season is better than this movie. Hopefully. So feel free to leave your comments on the movie below, and tune in next week when I take a look at the first Christopher Reeve Superman film. With that said, my name is Mr. CCS, this is Movie Central, and that, my friends, is a wrap. See you next week. Man, it feels so good to say that again.